Welcome, everyone. This is Rick Kauffman, your host with the 318 Men's Podcast. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about the man in the mirror. The other day, it was actually last Thursday, I woke up it was about 2:30 in the morning. And I'm talking to you, if that sounds like you. If you're a man who can't get to sleep and you're a man who can't stay asleep and you wake up early. Well, guys, I understand. It's frustrating. What I want to point out to you here is something that became very, very clear to me. As in the still of night, when the world and everything seems to be at a standstill, everybody in your home is asleep, it's dark and it's quiet. Everything there is just like it's still. In that peace, God opens up. You begin to hear, if you can quiet yourself long enough to do that. This is what I have done for 1,463 days now. I don't always get up that early. Usually 4 to 5 o'clock is my normal. I get it between about 7 hours to 8 hours sleep. But occasionally I get up, and at the time of this recording, I've been up for close to 14 hours, and it's only about 12 hours, and because it's about 2:30 in the afternoon. The Lord's called an audible because I already had a podcast all recorded. I already had one all set up, and but I want to talk to you. If you're a 45, 50-year-old man who's carrying a lot of weight and a lot of baggage, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of this here, and I'm going to give you some questions, and then I'm going to ask and give you an assignment. So, if that's something that you want to see and hear, well, stay tuned. We're going to jump into this here in just a moment. Well, this is episode 129, I believe it is. Yeah. And this episode is titled The Man in the Mirror. It's actually you, brother. It's me also, because we stand in the mirror and we look at ourselves and we see a man that might be very, very tired and wore out. This man he's carrying a marriage. He's an adult man who's raised his children, but the children have either come back home. He's still supporting them. He's still dealing with them. They call him. They look for his assistance. They look for things for him. He may even have grandchildren. And the grandchildren he's worried about, are they safe? Are they secure? Maybe he's even raising his grandchildren, providing a roof, providing food, making sure that there's enough food on the table. He's also maneuvering his health challenges. He may be fighting diabetes, heart issues, overweight, lack of energy, low testosterone. The list goes on. The man also has to manage his bills. He has to manage, the money comes in, but he also has a business. This man is a kingdom man. He wants to build something for the kingdom. For most of these men, they're extremely busy, very dedicated to their work and dedicated to their business. And they're also very dedicated to God. These men may be working in men's groups or ministries. They're carrying a lot of responsibility, so much responsibility that nobody really sees them. That's what keeps them awake. Either it doesn't allow them to go to sleep, or it doesn't allow them to stay asleep, and they get 4 or 5 hours of sleep. The man God is building is greater than the man you see today in the mirror. I want you to make this day one of your journey. Wherever you are right now, I want you to make it day one, and let's start today, because the man you see in the mirror right now, he's going to look tired. He's going to look beat. He's going to be low energy. He turns to God when he has problems. When life is good, he walks away. He doesn't turn to God. We need to learn to live with God in our good times and bad times. So what do you see when you look in the mirror? Most men that I talk to on a day-to-day basis, most of these men see their circumstances. Number one, they're exhausted. Number two, they're overwhelmed. Number three, they're frustrated. And number four, they're defeated. My son, he's a young father. He has a 2-year-old son. He's going through something through workers' comp right now. He's already exhausted. He is already overwhelmed with trying to deal with these issues between work and getting the MRIs and getting everything done. He's frustrated, tired of fighting the system, and he feels defeated, and he just wants to give up and quit. He's 27 years old or 25 years old, and he's still fighting. I'm 65 and I still fight exhaustion. I still feel very overwhelmed. I still feel very frustrated And there are times I feel so defeated. That's why I was up at 2:30 this morning, because I had things on my mind. But God solved those. He took them away from me. And this has been one of the most productive days I've had in a long time. See, God sees your assignments. Your assignments is your purpose, your strength, your courage, and your calling. God also sees weaknesses. But you know what? When you look in the mirror, you see your weaknesses. God sees your potential. There's a big difference. What is possible? Not what you see in the mirror, but what you see in the mirror, ask yourself the question, what is possible? The weight you carry. Laurie was talking about this. And if you're on watching this, on video, there's a graphic here, but I'll read it to you. It says, the weight you carry. Many men are carrying burdens God never assigned to them. The enemy says, if you don't carry it, nobody will. God says, cast your burdens upon me, 1 Peter 5:7. The problem is not always the weight. The problem is carrying what belongs to God, okay? So the image just shows a man going uphill. He's got this huge backpack, just full of weight, with 2 chains with extra weight attached to it. And on the back of this backpack, it reads, marriage, children, grandchildren, health, business, ministry, finance, responsibility. See, every man carries those weights. How do I know? Because it's me. The man in the mirror is me. And the man that I'm talking to is the man in the mirror, which is you. Because if you're married, you feel like you're carrying your marriage. If you have children, you feel like you're carrying your children, even if they're adult children. And then your children, the babies come home having babies, and now you're taking care of the grandchildren, or you're worried about them. You're carrying your health, and you feel like it's up to you. You're burning the candle on both ends. You're carrying your business, everything. You strive, you hustle, you work from the time you get up to the time you go to bed. The phone doesn't stop ringing. The text messages come in. The emails come. It doesn't stop. And if you don't do it, who's going to? Then you've got a ministry. You got people coming. They need you. You may be a pastor or you run a men's group like I do. People are coming. You're having conversations all day long. And then we get into our finances, and that's the last thing that we want to deal with, but it's the one thing that consumes everything, because our marriage depends on our finances, our children depend on our finances, our grandchildren depend on our finances, our health depends on our finances, our business depends on our finances, our ministry depends on our finances. And that is responsibility. You carry it all. It creates fear, control, and people-pleasing. Perfectionism. It's guilt, past mistakes, what-ifs, and comparisons. It's a full plate that you are never meant to carry. That's why it says the problem is not always the weight. The problem is you're carrying what belongs to God, because all those things belong to God. But men don't know how to give it up. They don't know how to let go. It keeps them up at night. The mirror doesn't lie. When we look in the mirror, we see fear, regret, anger, shame, bitterness, and doubt. The mirror, God reveals, what he intends to heal. We see patterns, wounds, excuses, strongholds. It's not to condemn, but it's to heal. And the scripture tells us, search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Guys, when we look in the mirror, what do we see? What we need to learn to see is the future man, the man that has a relationship with the Lord. The man in the mirror is not the destination that you see in the mirror. Not the old man, but the new guy, the new man. He is on a construction site. He is being built, just like a master craftsman. He will meticulously cut the board so he gets a perfect fit. He may cut it and leave a little bit on the edges. And if he has to trim it, he'll trim it or sand it down until it gets a snug fit, a perfect fit. So it'll be completely aligned. So when the foundation and the structure is built, there's no misalignment. That is you, brother. That is the man in the mirror that God is working on. Once you surrender, you take a knee and you surrender and give it to him. Because here's the thing. David had to become David in 1 Samuel 16:13. Gideon had to become Gideon. Judges 6:12. Peter had to become Peter. Luke 5:10. Before God builds the mission, he builds the man. You are not finished. Not by no means. You never will be until he calls you home. You are under construction. This is truly The 318 men in the 318 Brotherhood in the book, The Ascension of the Warrior, is truly an iron sharpens iron, Proverbs 27:17, guys. So I have a reflection question as we begin to wrap up. But first, we need to understand, be still and know that I am God, Psalms 46:10. So, and God says, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me, John 10:27. So what is God saying to you? The first thing is ask the question, write this down, or come back to it if you're driving. What is God saying to you right now? And what truth keeps showing up? What are you hearing? I want you to pause and listen. Pause the audio or pause this video. Take 60 to 90 seconds, whatever you need, and you write. You journal. Seek him, and he will speak to you. So go ahead, hit the pause button, stop, come back to this, and answer these questions. Reflection question number 2. This is the pain. We're talking about the fire of pain. In the 318, we talk about the 3 fires, the fire of pain, purpose, and power. So the pain is the door. The door is open. The choice is yours. You get to walk through the door. Ask yourself this question. When you look in the mirror and you see all the weight that you're carrying, where are you stuck? Where are you stuck? What burdens are you carrying? What fear is holding you, keeping you steadfast where you are? That's keeping you from walking through that door that God's opened for you. What conversations are you avoiding? These could be conversations with your wife, your adult children, your employer, your employees, your business, your accountant, maybe with yourself. But probably the most important conversation that you're avoiding is the conversation with God. What decision have you delayed that you know you should have made? You see, most men are not stuck because they lack knowledge. Brother, if you're listening to this, I believe you have all the knowledge. If you read the Bible, you attend church, you already have the knowledge. The problem is they are stuck because they already know what God said. In Philippians 4:13, it reads, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So this was your second set of questions. We're going to move to the third set of questions. What is your next step? Well, your next steps today need to write it down. You need to take action. You need to trust God. You keep going and you finish strong. One step of faith can change your entire future, brother. So what is your next step? What is God saying? What step is God asking you to take? What will you do within the next 24 hours? What conversation do you need to have? And what destination have you been avoiding? See, God rarely gives 10 steps. He usually just gives you one, and that's the next one. Obedience to the one step can change everything. You know, day one, I looked in the mirror and I did not like what I see. I hated my life. I didn't even like the man I was. When I look in the mirror today, after 1,463 days, I see the same man, but I don't feel the same. I'm totally different. I'm a totally different man. Where would you be if you take this journey with me? So what is the next step God may be asking you to do? It just might be to take the next step, to take this journey. Let's do this together. So the man in the mirror, God is transforming, preparing, and he will use you. The man you see today is not who you are becoming. The question is not, what do you see? The question is, what does God see? What does God see in you? Every morning you stand face to face with the greatest ministry opportunity, every single morning. The man in the mirror, the man God is transforming, the man God is preparing, the man God is equipping, and the man God intends to use. You see, the mirror is not showing you who you were. It's revealing who you are becoming. Guys, this is extremely powerful. And I want to invite you into the 318 Brotherhood. I want you to pick up the book, The Ascension of the Warrior. The link for the book is in step there. It's only $4.99. Step into it, get it. You can order a physical book if you want one too. You'll get involved in the 318 house, the 318 Brotherhood, all the ground floor and all the bonuses and everything that come with that. But I'm going to ask you to walk through the door, up the stairway to the forge. This is where we build the man. This is the construction site. The ground floor is done. It's completely done. It's where we can refine the message and we can learn. But once we decide that we're the one man that God's calling on us to walk the 8 steps, we then take the steps up to the second floor. We start with the forge. After that is the seeker, the man who is seeking God's provision, God's blueprint in his life, his purpose. And then some men will be called to go to the fourth floor, actually, which is the Redeemer. The Redeemer is called to go out into battle, to go take back what was lost. Guys, I'm looking for 318 warriors that are willing to take that ascension upwards that'll go. So guys, the link to the house is in the description of the podcast. The questions, everything is in the description of the podcast. Everything's there. Connect with me. If you want to book a call, there's a link to my calendar. I'd love to talk to you, just to answer any questions you have. I'm available if you just need prayer, brother. God loves you. I love you. The brothers in the Brotherhood, they all love you, and they don't even know who you are right now. But I want to welcome you home before you even know you have found a home. 318, brother.